Hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Natalie Ryan Hebert, and I'm the founder of the Red Tent program for PMDD, which stands for Premenstrual Dysphoric Disorder. And today I'm joined by my lovely client, Kaylee, who went through the Red Tent program fairly recently. And she's here to bravely share her story. And I appreciate it so much because I know it's a big thing to share something as personal as this. So thank you for joining me, Kaylee.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's my honor to share my story and be with you. And I'm so honored to have found you.
I just want everyone to hear your story. So you can just chat away. Like, where were you when you found me, I suppose, or how were things, just a few months back?
So things at the end of last year were pretty severe. I would say halfway through the year, my daughter was about 1.5. So after my second child, I just slowly started to develop more and more stronger symptoms of rage, anger, depression, just it's like out of body. I didn't feel in control almost, but I knew I was. It's a very odd feeling.
Yeah, feel like
So
being
that's
hijacked.
where I was at. Yeah.
Yeah. And so go on. Tell me what happened next. So you're at this, and it often happens. So many of my clients, it can be having a child that does trigger off all of this stuff, and you finish the breastfeeding, and the period comes back again, and everything sort of starts, coming up in your face premenstrually. So that's what was happening for you. Go on. What happened then?
Yes, and I didn't really totally pay attention to. I had been diagnosed with it after my first one, but then I started to really track it and noticed that I was almost not fully even stable for 2 weeks out of the month. And so, as determined as I am, I was on a mission to find a cure or something that was going to help me. I tried medication. Prior to finding you, I actually had got on medication, and I personally would do anything to avoid it because previously in the past I had taken it and it just didn't fit well. However, there is no judgment towards it. But for me, I had gotten on it. They told me 2 weeks out of the month you can take it. And then I did, but then I was miserable the other two. So I was then miserable, or kind of a zombie, I would say, for 4 weeks. And so then when I came across you after intensive research, looking at the reviews people had, and I felt like this calling to you. I don't know how to explain it. That's kind of where the whole journey started. Just watching you and seeing how similar all of this is for me and a lot of other women that likely don't talk about it or have any knowledge of what's happening. So that's where I found you with my research, and then was able to take that next step.
Yeah. I'm just going to take the video off. I'm going to edit this together just because I think your sound is going to be better without video, and then we'll just do it as like a podcast. Is that okay?
Yes, totally. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. I appreciate you being here. Okay. And so then you found me sort of somewhere on the internet, Instagram or YouTube, or can you remember where it was that you first came across?
Yes, I found you on Facebook in the PMDD group. I had saw a comment. Somebody had been in your group and had it successfully worked for them. And when I started looking in, and then that instantly brought me to your name. And then I started looking into other experiences. And to be super honest, at the time, I didn't have the finances. But I knew that there was no way that I was going to be able to continue living the way I was and be able to be the mom I wanted to be, or the wife, or a working person of society. And so I really honestly just prayed on it and within a week, I actually got a call saying that somebody had heard about me struggling. It gives me the chills. And that they wanted to help me out with this program. And so
Oh, wow.
that was
Mm.
amazing. So that's where that happened too.
That really is amazing. Yeah, I really, yeah, so many incredible stories come from the women who go through this program of feeling. So many say, I just got a message just last night on Instagram saying, I've been hoping for this for so long. I've been praying for this in one way or another, whether you're religious or not. There's a calling of your heart, of your soul. Like, I'm ready to heal this. Show me the way. I had a similar thing
Yes.
happen for me. Like, I have to overcome this. No one is coming to save me.
Yes.
Show me, just this, help me, but not
Yes.
in a victim way, but in a, I'm
Yes.
ready to do this. And then the doors somehow just open, and the path clears. Yeah, and
That is
so go on. So you went through,
so
so,
good.
and so that was amazing. And so then you were able to sign up for the Red Tent program, and you did it with the online program and also having a session with me one to one. So you had a pretty extraordinary breakthrough quite quickly. As I recall, um, the first session, the first guided transformational hypnotherapy session in the program, even though it's all guided, it's not even working with me one to one at this point. But that was a big shift for you, as I recall. Do you want to speak a bit to that?
Oh my goodness. Yes. It is so powerful. I, in that, I have carried brain fog most of my life, and that did start when the trauma started when I was young, and not ever really thinking that would go away, thinking it was kind of just part of me. Um, the first guided recording we did, um, or the first guided recording I did, I was brought. I don't know if I want to. Should I go into the
Oh,
topic? Maybe even.
you can share as much or as
Okay.
little as you like. This is, you're
So,
not, yeah.
there's no judgment on my end. This is just experiences based on beliefs that happened. And I had no clue. But we went back to when I did not feel worthy. And when I was about 6 years old, I was um, spanked by my father. And my father, a loving man, very loving man, passed down just what he did and what he knew. And when he had did that, it was actually right before a wedding.
Mm,
And he just said, I'm going to spank you right now. This is happening, and didn't explain why or anything. And so afterwards, going to the wedding, I did not know that the brain fog started in that moment. It created a lot of confusion. I did not
mm,
understand how I was supposed to go to this wedding now and dance off like something just didn't happen
mm,
because I didn't understand. So I think a lot of things you have to understand for the confusion not to be there. And so that was very
mm,
clarifying to me, though, to be able to witness that, see what it was, and also see that it was my dad did the best he could, and there was no, it was just what was what was taken by my brain. And now that brain fog has not come back.
mm. It's like a
It,
dissociation sort of thing to get away from the emotion and the confusion. And it's often like brain fog, it's like a mist, isn't it? A mist of confusion. Often the symptoms we experience are very, very metaphorical and symbolic. Um, so I think so many have this experience of being spanked as a child because that was the done thing. Our parents were like brought up in a children should be seen and not heard, spare the rod, spare the child. They were told that's how you love your child,
yeah,
um, which is, of course, not the way we see it today at all. It's
right.
a massive shift that's taken place, thank goodness.
Hmm.
But making sense of that as a child, you don't have the understanding back then of the whole picture, and all you can make it mean is I'm not worthy. It's the only sense you can make of it. And then that becomes a belief. The confusion is where beliefs are created. We don't like feeling confused. We have to make sense of it. And the sense we usually make of it is some form of self rejection or self abandonment. that we sort of get stuck with, and we can't really even pinpoint why. We just know we don't feel good enough. So
Yeah.
that was a little bit from your first session. And of course, we go back, and the key to it is undoing the meaning. It's changing the meaning so that you're not carrying the meaning you gave it anymore. The meaning is the thing that's hurting you, not the event, but what you made the event mean. And when
Hmm.
you're able to update that meaning, then everything begins to change. And then, of course, you had your session with me one to one.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, and that's a whole
Yes.
different level. Mm.
Loved. Yes, that was so beyond powerful. Oh my goodness. Where to start on that? We can go. Yes, so that was the most amazing thing I've ever experienced. Oh my goodness. I have always been somebody that isolated a lot in times of stress, um, awfully feeling that help was not available or um, that resources weren't available. And when that really sunk in after having kids, a lot with the PMDD as well, but a lot in my life. And so when we started to go back to those moments, um, we went back as far as being in the womb. And that was so, thinking about it, I get the chills. I went back to being in the womb, and the moment that we were in the doctor's office and they told my mother that I needed to be delivered immediately, I felt the cortisol from her umbilical cord into my body, and my body was shaking so nervously because right before that moment, I felt so safe and secure in my mom. And
Mm.
I knew that I was okay. I knew I was safe. But the doctors did what they felt was best, which was probably best at the time. However, thankfully, they have new practices now with the NICU. But afterwards, after I was delivered 2 months early, I was put in an incubator for 2 months, and that's where I was left alone. And that's where a lot of confusion started
Oh,
with all of that.
you're not the only one that I've seen this with. It doesn't happen very often. Going back to the womb is an incredible thing. It's only ever happened for me once. I've had several RTT sessions because I use RTT for continued growth as well. And it's such a fascinating thing. I remember another client, she just couldn't find love. Every relationship, she always felt like she was unworthy, she was never good enough, she never saw her own beauty. She just had this deep seated belief that
Mm.
she was unwanted,
Mm.
which of course wasn't true. But she too, she'd been born prematurely, and she was in the incubator, and it was like this nurse coming and feeding her um,
Ah.
with a little eyedropper. And it
Oh,
wasn't,
yes.
that's not a mother's breast. That's like, where's mom? And the child is going, where's my mum? I thought mum would be here. She's not. It can only mean I'm not wanted, is the conclusion a lot of children come to. Um, it's not to say every child in an incubator comes to this conclusion, but this is, we have the confusion, we have to make sense of it. What do we make it mean in that moment?
Mm.
And to be able to go back to that and say, oh, darling, you were so incredibly loved. It was so hard for your mother to leave you, but she had to. It was like having her heart outside of her body. You
Oh
can
my
imagine
gosh.
what it would be like as a mother having to leave your baby when she'd just been born. Of course, she loved you. It was a sacrifice she had to make too. And when you can reprogram and update that story, you can realize, oh my God, I was always loved. I was always worthy. And I
Yes.
still am. And that's the big shift. Again, it's not what's happened, it's the meaning you gave it. And when you can update these meanings, then you change your life. And so, on the other side of this now,
Mm.
what have you noticed? No, having updated these meanings, having corrected
Yes.
these meanings, because they're misinterpretations. They were not the truth. They're interpretations you made about yourself because you couldn't come up with anything better at the time. Now you've been able to upgrade that. What do you feel now? Just tell me the difference between before, where you had depression and anxiety and brain fog and all the PMDD symptoms. What are you feeling in your life now, premenstrually especially?
Oh, Well, that's amazing because there's been a couple months that I actually didn't know I was ready for my menstrual cycle at all. And I was like, wait, it's this time? Oh, I didn't even know. And I was mind blown. And that was so amazing. Otherwise I've like had like basic PMS symptoms a day or two before. So much better. Well, significantly just life all around has been, it makes me cry because I feel like I'm living the purpose I've always meant to live.
Mm.
I found you and I felt so called to you. I just like I looked around at other opportunities or other things and I'm like, there's nothing else more that I know I need than this. And um it has changed my life where I have the most energy that I've ever had in my entire life. Um, and I'm doing things that I never thought I would do too. So
What kind of things are you
yes,
doing that you'd never do?
I am going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing I am doing clinical hypnotherapy. I just opened up my own business, so just in the start of that, and hoping to pick up business here in the next few weeks. That's new. I actually just spread my wings at the last place I was at, and I'm ready to do this and help transform lives like you did mine.
Oh, that's amazing. I think I might have told you this, but I think it's somewhere near 30 of my clients, and there's been over 1,500, so, small percentage, but
Yes.
they've gone on to train in this kind of work because it was so life-changing for them. They thought, I cut like everything I've been through, I have to go back and help others out. It's like there are others on the path where I was, and I need to help them out. I need to go and kind of pay it forward, the thing that I've experienced in myself. It's the same for me. Like I couldn't just go, yes, I'm free of PMDD. See you
Yes,
later, suckers. Like you can't just leave
right.
everything there. If you've got the answers and you have the wisdom and the understanding, you've got to share it. And it becomes like a really strong purpose, doesn't it? I feel that way, definitely. That's why I
Yes.
do what I do, because I know the freedom that's available. And it's not just freedom from PMDD. They're just the symptoms that are trying to get your attention,
Yes.
so that you can heal these beliefs that are, I'm not lovable, I'm not worthy, I'm not safe, I don't belong, these sorts of things, which are simply not true, to reconnect you to the truth, which is that you are lovable,
Yes.
you are worthy, you're here to do amazing things. There's so much of life ahead, which is a huge change from a lot of the suicidal thinking that comes in premenstrually. Like it's a different world.
Hmm.
You're like, I want more lifetimes than just the one I've got. I've got so much that I want to
Yes.
achieve and experience. If
Yeah.
only I had more years instead of like, when is this over? Which is how I
Yes.
used to feel. Can I just
Yes.
get off this merry-go-round now? That feeling of it's just too hard, that all,
Yes.
yeah. So I'm so pleased for you, Kaylee, and yeah, and well done for following that intuition and taking that leap of faith, and also asking for support, or trusting or believing that support could come, and being open to that support, through me, through the person who came in and said, I want to help you with this. What a gift. And and I know that you'll pay that forward to others, and that's what this is all about. Um, Sort of
Yes.
helping each other, walking each other back to love, returning to love. That's what this is all about. Um, yeah, so you come for PMDD, but it's so much more than that. Mm.
It really is. It is a transformation that you really don't even expect. So everybody deserves it. I truly believe that. And I can't wait to see the transformations that are yet to come. So
Yeah, it is. It's a positive snowball, this. It's not like it doesn't wear off. It's not like you're on a high and then you come down from the high. Although there is kind of like this amazing euphoric feeling right
totally.
after. Um, But I find, because you've changed your beliefs at the subconscious level, and beliefs prove themselves to be true, what
Mhm.
happens is your beliefs prove themselves true in the positive now. You see more proof that
Yes.
you're lovable, more proof of your worth.
Yes.
proof
Yeah.
of your worth. Um, and then the more you prove it, the stronger the beliefs become. And then you keep creating even better results in your life, like this positive snowball effect over time. And when I follow up with clients sort of a year later, I'll just reach out and go, how are you going?
Yeah.
And we take those scores again on the different markers, like um, self-love out of 10, joy out of 10. The numbers just get better over time.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
yes.
and the self-loathing, depression, deep sadness, anxiety, they all get just less and less and less over time. So it is something you can look forward to further growth, because that's what your beliefs will do. So thank you
So
so much
powerful.
for sharing today with me, Kaylee. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we finish up? Like, for example, if you could go back to yourself 6 months ago,
Yeah.
which is equivalent to many women who are listening to this right now, they're perhaps where you used to be, what would you say to Kaylee 6 months ago?
Oh, that would make me cry. Don't give up. It's you can heal from this. It's symptoms. It's not you, and you can get through it. And you are so powerful. Your brain is so powerful. You are so powerful. And I have hope for everybody.
Yeah,
So
I do too. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kaylee, and I
thank
wish you
you.
just the very best.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
And so, for those of you listening, if you've been inspired by Kaylee's story and you want to know more about the program, you can go to my website, natalieryanhebert.com. I'm also on Instagram / Natalie Ryan Hebert. I'm going to put all the links down below this video, wherever you are seeing it, so that you can get in touch with me. And there's plenty of free resources for you to dive into as well.